Imagine you start dancing and you can't stop, not just for an hour or a day, but for days, weeks, until you dance yourself to death. Sounds like a horror movie, right? Well, brace yourselves, because what we're diving into today is not a piece of fiction but a bizarre chapter from history. Picture this: the year is 1518, the place is Strasbourg, France. It's a typical day until a woman named Frau Trophea steps into the street and begins to dance. No music, no reason, just an unstoppable urge to move. Her dance is not a joyful jig but a marathon of madness. In the following days, her solitary performance becomes a massive spectacle as hundreds join her, swept up in this inexplicable dance fever. The city's streets turn into a grand yet grim stage of non-stop dancing. What if I told you that this was real and it happened more than once? The year was 1518 and a woman named Frau Trophea started dancing. She didn't stop, not for days, not for weeks. In the heart of Strasbourg, a mysterious rhythm took hold, spreading like wildfire from one person to hundreds within a month. An eerie silence pervaded the city, broken only by the relentless tapping of feet. There was no music, no apparent reason, just an unstoppable rhythm that echoed through the cobblestone streets. The spectacle was as baffling as it was terrifying. Authorities stood by, helpless and bewildered, as their city transformed into a macabre dance floor. Contemporaries watched in horror, as their friends and neighbors succumbed to this inexplicable compulsion, dancing until they dropped. The city that once bustled with life now echoed with the haunting rhythm of the deadly dance. By the time the dancing stopped, dozens had died of heart attacks, strokes, and exhaustion. Strasbourg was forever marked by the unstoppable rhythm, a chilling testament to the deadly power of dance. The dancing plague remains one of history's most bizarre events. But what caused it, you may wonder? Over the years, various theories have been tossed around like a pair of dancing shoes. Let's put on our detective hats and waltz through some of these explanations. Firstly, we have the mass hysteria theory. Some scholars suggest that the people of Strasbourg were so stressed and fearful due to famine and disease, they simply lost control. They danced to the rhythm of their anxiety until they dropped, a deadly jitterbug indeed. Then there's the ergot poisoning hypothesis. Ergot is a fungus that grows on rye and wheat. When ingested, it can cause hallucinations and convulsions. Imagine a medieval rave party where the main course is rye bread and the entertainment is dancing until you pass out. Sounds like a blast, doesn't it? However, none of these theories have been universally accepted. Some experts argue that mass hysteria doesn't explain why people would dance to death. Others question if ergotism could indeed provoke such prolonged and energetic dancing. So, we are left with a mystery as enigmatic as the moonwalk. The dancing plague remains an unsolved puzzle in the annals of history. So next time you hit the dance floor, remember the dancing plague. Dance like your life depends on it, because once upon a time, it might have. The dancing plague of 1518 wasn't the first or last of its kind. There were similar events recorded in Switzerland, Germany, and Holland. These bizarre happenings, where people began to dance uncontrollably until they collapsed or even died, were not isolated incidents, but part of a pattern that spread across Europe during the Middle Ages. The strange thing is, these dancing frenzies eventually stopped. Some historians attribute this to changes in societal structures and beliefs. As we moved away from the Middle Ages, the world became more rational, and the belief in curses and divine punishment began to wane. Gradually, the dancing plagues became a thing of the past, a strange blip in our history. To recap, the dancing plague was a terrifying phenomenon where people would dance uncontrollably, often until they collapsed from exhaustion or died. It was a deadly dance, fueled by fear and hysteria, and it claimed countless lives. The exact cause of these dancing plagues remains a mystery, with theories ranging from mass hysteria to ergot poisoning. Remember, this was a time when dancing wasn't just a form of entertainment or expression. It was also seen as a form of divine punishment or a curse. And in this case, a dance so deadly it could kill. And there you have it. A dance so deadly it could kill. It brings a whole new meaning to the phrase, dance until you drop, doesn't it?